Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we got Willie and Korie Robertson from the new show, Duck Dynasty, The Revival.
Hi there.
What's up?
Thanks for having us.
Okay, your agent calls you and says, hey, listen, I know you haven't been back on TV for a while, but we have it's a new idea. It's a great concept. It's called Duck Dynasty, The Revival. How long does it take for you two to go, are we doing this again?
There was some discussion.
Yes, there was definitely some discussion. Well, I will say this. When we first talked about as a family, we sat around the table and we're like, all right, are we going to do this again? It was unanimous. Yes, we wanted to come back on television. We felt like, our entertainment and culture shapes culture, and we were grateful to get to be a part of it the first time around. So yes, let's do it again. Now, when they decided they wanted to name it Duck Dynasty again, that's when we got a little nervous because we're like, wait, we can't recreate what we did before. Yeah. Like that was special. It was amazing. And
it's a tough act to follow.
It's a tough act to follow. So that one gave us a little pause.
It's kind of funny because every time a show comes back in a different iteration, they use that first part like CSI Cuba. I mean, this one must have been like, okay, what are we reviving? Are we reviving us? Are we reviving this thing? Are we chasing ourselves around in four-wheelers again? I mean, how does this even go? Okay, it's going to be different, and this is how it's going to be different.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the big discussion: is how are we able to show something that's different, but still have the same DNA and the funniness, and because you're losing certain people. My father just passed away. My mom's not on the show that much. Uncle Si's still there, which is we're grateful for that because he adds a lot to the comedy of the show. But you're also bringing in, our children who are older, and our children were on the show, but also their spouses who had never been on television before, my grandkids. So we just, you're never quite sure. You're like, I think this is going to work. And once we start doing it, we were like, yeah, there's a lot of things here in life. I think there's a lot of buckets in life that people can look at and say, wow, I see that in my family as well. Because we saw that with Duck Dynasty. We saw people say, your dad's just like my dad. He's like old school, different generation, says, stuff that he probably shouldn't say. We have a crazy uncle. My mom is just like that, or my brother's like that. And so we were able to, connect, I think, with people who weren't necessarily even hunters or certainly duck hunters or have giant beards. But we saw that commonality with people. And so we knew with this show, it's the same way. I'm to the age where I'm like, how much do I still work, or how much do I want my family? When do I step away? When's that time? And all these things are just, having children, having grandchildren. All these are things that everybody in life is going to go through. Losing a parent. All these things here are the same kind of concepts. And I think we do them in a unique way in order to tell stories that are entertaining and fun and wholesome, where everyone can watch them, I think, and that kind of sets us apart with most reality families, I guess, is so we can sit down and maybe you learn something, but at least you have fun along the way and laugh a little and take your mind off of whatever it is that you've got going on in your life that's kind of chaotic.
Reality television is tough because unlike a lot of shows, I get interviewed a lot of actors and they go, okay, I have a lot of dialogue, I have these scripts and everything else. I've been a part of reality television once, and I remember producer would come up to you and they go, hey, you got any issues? Are you mad at anybody right now? And you're going, you know what? I'm really mad at him. And then suddenly that is like half the show of you teeing off on somebody. And you're going, that's not who I am normally, but I guess this is who you want for right now.
Producers would do that for sure. They'll definitely, and a lot of it is just that's what the nature of the business is. So they'll get into the same type of shows and even scripted shows as well. Even how they characterize, maybe fathers or characterize mothers or characterize children. And so we definitely have run into that to where some of the things we're doing, they're like, is that going to work? Is it going to work that you're not fighting, or is it going to work that she's not rolling her eyes at me and my kids are actually saying, yes, sir, we'll do I don't know if anybody's like that. And so we found that being authentic to who we were and and one is not taking ourselves too seriously. And so, and doing this together as a family, there's a greater good that we want to do. There's a bigger platform that we want to use in order to encourage people. And it's not necessarily on the show. Like the show's not a preaching show or trying to, change you. I think at the end of the day, the show is just to make you laugh, to be wholesome. You can watch it. Maybe you learn something, maybe you don't. If you want to go on and read a book or something else, our podcast that we do, and dig more deep into it, then you can. But it is, I think reality TV is tough. And so
it's definitely known for the fighting. So I think that the first time around when we did the first show, we kind of proved to the world, like, hey, you can have a reality show that is just fun. And I mean, not that we always get along and we never fight, because we do, obviously. But yeah, you can have a show that's just funny and fun and wholesome, and people want to watch it. And so we fought those battles a little bit. I remember early seasons for sure, the first time around, being like, always wanting us to fight, and we're like, no, we're doing something different.
Or they'd tell our kids, they'd tell our kids, like, hey, go tell your dad this, and my kids would be like, no way.
Yeah.
Not today, Satan.
I'm not going to say that.
Like, you guys tell Dad that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the rough thing for me is I always see clips of myself, and they always get the roughest moments in my life to put out there. And I'm like, listen, I'm not like that the majority of my life, but now people have this appearance and this feeling about you, and the internet is just mean. And I know Korie, on the internet is really tough on women. I mean, you're this kind of mother, you're this, why don't you take care? I mean, they'll find any flaw on you. I lost 42 pounds and everyone's like going, oh, he looks too thin now. I'm going, I was fat before, but now I'm thin now. And I mean, what does it take? How many times do you have to see something before you go, okay, I'm not going to take this personal. I'm not going to let this get to me?
Yeah. The first time around, we had teenagers in the home that we were raising at the time. So, and that was right when social media was all coming up, and we were learning it and figuring it out ourselves. So there were so many conversations about that. Like, look, do not listen to what people who do not know you think. It was just this like speech that we had to ingrain in our kids, being like, the only thing that is important is what we think, that we're looking at each other face to face, those who really know you and really love you. And I think that's a message for everybody, not just people who are on television, because social media can be a tough space. And we see it now as we're dealing with a whole generation with anxiety and depression and all these things. And a lot of it is stemming from social media and the way it's affecting us. And so, yeah, we definitely gave those speeches to our kids. Willie took an approach of, he doesn't read any of it. He's just like, don't read it to me. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear it.
La, 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 la. No, yes.
It's like 2012. Literally, I haven't read any of it. And so I don't know any of it. Because it would start to bug me. I'd be thinking about that one thing. And I didn't want to go into what I was doing thinking, oh, shoot, somebody said that. And so I have no idea. Occasionally, y'all would tell me, oh, you're getting roasted for something. I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah. I remember our daughter, Sadie, she came to me early on, and she was like, there was some site that said something that there was somebody who said that she looked like a man. She's a 16-year-old, whatever. And I said, well, I read today that I look like Squidward from SpongeBob. So
I'm the one that posted that. I'm sorry. I'm the one that said that. So that's my bad.
So I'm like, you just cannot believe what people write or what they say. And you just got to take it for what it is and know that the people who know and love you and what they think, that's the approach that we've taken, and we're sticking with it.
Have you ever, this is the thing, I made this mistake once. I thought I could reply to something. I thought I could actually reply and maybe educate this person or tell them this isn't the way it was. And basically everybody and their mother came out with bats and started beating on me. I'm like, where is this coming from? Have you ever made that mistake where you're going, you know what? I'd like to answer this.
Okay, so one time, Willie started getting some heat because, he took over the family business, and they're like, oh, why was he the one to take over the family business? And, all these opinions about it, whatever. And I couldn't stand it anymore. So I wrote back, and I titled it like "Stand by Your Man" or something. And I just went off about how generous he is and how he's taken this family business to another level, and how, all these things. And I will say it turned out good, because the person who originally wrote the negative post apologized. So that was a good one. That one
That's
actually,
Christmas. That was
Didn't
Christmas.
apologize. That was good. But I will say for like Sadie and Christian, because this has been interesting because now we have in-laws, our kids, the spouse who they married, who never were on television before and didn't experiencing it all for the first time. So Sadie's husband, Christian, has done it a couple of times where he's replied back and Sadie's like, it never works, but you could try it if that's what you got to do. Go for it, but it never works.
I figured they could just say it to my face. And I did have a lady come up to me in the grocery store and she grabbed me and she put her finger in my face and said, "Quit being so mean to your mama." And she had on this show and I was like, "So sorry. Well, I'll be nicer to Miss Katie."
I'll work on it. I'll work on that.
She did tell me to my face to be nicer to my mother.
Is it the hard thing for me sometimes is when people recognize you, but they recognize you from the show, not real life, and you're not certain where they know you from, and you're trying to be kind, and then you realize, oh, you know me from the show. I mean, I assume that happens all the time where somebody's staring at you and you're going, "Did we go to school together?" No, I saw a short with you.
Yeah, that happened a lot at first, for sure, especially in our hometown, because, we're still in our same hometown, but people would yell your name across the parking lot and you'd think, oh, they must know me, and you look up like, hey, and then you're like, wait, I actually don't know you. You know me, but I don't know you. So that definitely is a thing. And then a lot of people, for me specifically, Willie's like, you know who this is if you see him. But for me, a lot of times people say like, do you work at my dentist office or something? Like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. But
see, I would say yes. I was like, yes, I'm the dental hygienist there. Well, you haven't been up there in a while. You need to come. I would just go with it.
And I say everyone knows you, but Willie's got a few stories.
No, they know I'm something, but I've gotten every famous person with a beard I've gotten them. Yeah. I really have gotten them all. So.
Anybody with a bad hairline, I get all the time. It's always, I kind of go, okay, yeah. It's never like a really good looking person. Nobody ever hits me with, like, hey, you look like a young Tom Cruise. Really? I don't, it's always like you look like Dan Aykroyd or something like that. That's what I get hit with.
Actually, the whole time I was going to tell her when this was over, I was going to say he reminded me so much of Dan Aykroyd. That is so for me, what I get is, which is so funny, because they're like, oh, wait, there's a guy who looks identical to you in my town. And they show me a photo of him, or he's there in real life, or the guy comes up and is like,
oh, and I'm like, really look-alike contest.
And I'm like, oh, he's twice the size of me. And I'm like, so I'm looking at this person going, there's no. So I think the TV has stretched me out a lot. And so people thinking that I've got bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm in
TV's no fun.
Hundreds of pounds in their mind, I guess.
Now, you have relatives that don't get on the show or somebody. The hard thing is because of fame, people go, oh, I want to be on the show. And they come out of the woodwork. I'm your cousin something. This would be great. And they go, it's there has to be a coordination between people. And have you ever had the issue where you have to tell somebody, I just can't get you on the show? I mean, there are some relatives who didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, totally. People want to be on the show, or somebody thinks that
ideas
or stuff they think is funny. Like they're like, oh, you've got to get Earl on your show. He is the funniest guy at deer camp, And then I meet Earl, and I'm like, Earl's not funny. He's funny when you're like half liquored up at deer camp on a Friday night. He's not like reality TV guy. He's not going to be that dude who's going to be able to carry something. So yeah, we have a lot of people who say, oh man, I could do it. And I think they realize, even for a lot of our friends and even family who's been on the show, it's a lot of times it's harder than they think. They think they're going to go on there and knock it out of the park, and then they just turn into the toad. Just like they're just staring. Yeah. They don't know what to say, and
just kind of watching it go on. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, they definitely turn.
Also, people get to our family members, especially like my dad. My dad is the kind of person that's like, if he says he's going to do something, he will do it. So he has to tell me everything that everybody told him to tell me, every show idea, everything. It's like, I told somebody that knew that, he was my dad, and they told him something that he had to tell me. And so,
well, heck, I'm not waiting out for Sadie. Like
Yeah.
everybody's trying to get messages to Sadie or try to get her to come to their thing, and I'm like, I'm out. She does her own stuff.
I'm
I'm not in charge of Sadie's schedule. She's my daughter, but I'm not. I'm not going to do this.
I kind of laugh at the existence we get to live sometimes. Like, if 5 years ago you'd go, yeah, you're going to interview the couple from Duck Dynasty, and tomorrow you're going to interview Jake Tapper. I'm going, no, this doesn't happen in the regular world. Now, fame has brought you guys a lot of happiness, some sadness. Now, what is the coolest moment where you go, oh, I got to meet this celebrity? Why would this guy even care about who I am? And now you realize, yeah, I'm on these guys' level. I got to hang out with them. I mean, what is the coolest celebrity moment you guys have had?
Well, there's been so many, but I would say the same thing. Like the coolest thing I feel like doing this show has been the people I've been able to meet. And so there's so many people that I either look up to or someone I didn't even know that I've gotten connected with. And I'll say this, I mean, I can't think of anybody who I've ever met who was rude or unkind, and people you would never, you would think there's no way you guys would get along. But I think they realize, I think they, even from reality TV, which is probably the base level of entertainment of what they think, out there. But they know how hard it is, to do what we've done, to make that many shows, to be that successful. I think there's a common respect that people have where it's like, hey, you just don't accidentally bump into that. And I did meet Jake Tapper one time, but
I'll tell a crazy moment. Our White House Correspondence Center moment. Yeah. So we're on the way to the White House Correspondence Center.
That's where I met Jake Tapper.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
He was at the table with us.
And I'm on the phone with my mom, and I'm like, hey, we're probably going to get to meet the president tonight.
Oh, you said we're going to meet the president.
Yes. And Willie's like,
I said, no, we're not. This is like 1,000 people.
No, there's 3,000.
3,000.
There's like 3,000 people there.
The president, we just got invited by someone.
And I was like, oh, I thought there's going to be a meet and greet line or something. We're all going to meet him, And so we're showing up. We get there, and I mean, we walk in the door, and there's like, the red carpet with all the press, and a guy comes up, like Secret Service.
Two dudes come straight at us.
Yes.
And at this point, I'm thinking I'm getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where they're like, get the homeless guy out.
Jeans because his tux pants didn't fit.
It's true. And the guy comes up and he goes, Mr. and Miss Robertson. We're like, yes. And he goes, the president and the first lady would like to see you. It was President Obama.
Yes, Obama.
Oh. And comes in and goes, I told you we was going to meet the president. I said, I guess we are. And we went back, and the president told us that he watched Duck Dynasty on Air Force One, which was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. Willie got some presidential cufflinks.
I do. I haven't worn those because I don't really wear cufflinks, but yeah, tons of presidents, obviously. Bill Clinton told me he watched the show, and for some reason I said, you don't watch our show. I don't know why I said that either. I said, you don't watch our show. And he looks at me when we got that he goes, I love that show, like he did watch the show. And because I don't even know that anybody could have prepped him. But a lot of fun moments. There's so many people and celebrities that we've bounced into, and people that just, it's kind of shocking. Well, I tell you what, last week I was in Nashville. There was this guy looking for the elevator, and I said, oh, here, it's right here. And so I get on the elevator with him. It's Alice Cooper. And he says, I'm playing a concert tomorrow night. And I said, hey, I was on Duck Dynasty. And his whole face, he was like, Duck Dynasty? Oh my gosh, man. He asked about my parents, and he said, it's such a huge show. And then for 2 days, I talked to Alice in Nashville. So it's crazy. All the people
you never know.
It's a hell of a life to live. And I'm glad to see that you guys are taking every adventure you want to take. The show is on Hulu. It's Duck Dynasty, The Revival. Guys, it was so great talking to you, and have a fantastic day.
You did, buddy.
It's a lot of fun.